Hello again, everyone. This is Com, and welcome to 2021. Hopefully, this year will be better than the last one. Anyway, let's get to it. Today, I'm reviewing a fairly new movie that came out only a month ago. Normally, I would do TV series, but this time, I thought I'd start talking about movies as well. So, the movie I'm talking about today is Disney Pixar's Soul. And I must say, this must be one of Pixar's best work in recent years. And this is very surprising for me, as Pixar hasn't been really well in the past few years. But this movie was great, and it reminded me why I love Pixar in the first place. Before I talk about the plot of this movie, I want to talk about the animation and the music first. For the animation, I think it's one of Pixar's best work in recent years. It almost looks like a live action set with Pixar characters, but it isn't uncanny, which I kinda like. And as for the music, it has a jazz feel to it. I really enjoyed many of the music here, and I'm tempted to get the movie's soundtrack soon. Alright, so right now I'm giving a spoiler warning as I will be diving deep into the plot of this movie. So if you want to check it out first, go ahead. So, what's the movie about? Well, there's this guy named Joe who is a school teacher, had an accident before a life-changing event and emerged in a place called the Great Before. There, he tries to find a way back to Earth with the help of another soul named 22. So, it's a very basic premise for a story, but the way in which it is told is where it shines. You see, when I first watched the movie, I thought the story would be about the two characters journeying across the Great Before while avoiding an astral named Terry who's trying to get Joe to the Great Beyond. And at first, I thought it was going in that direction, as another astral named Jerry assigns Joe to a mentor 22 to get her spark so she can get an Earth patch and go to Earth. And the two made a deal that will get Joe back to Earth and allow 22 to stay in the Great Before. We get the usual comedy jokes here and there, some of them hit, some of them miss. By the way, I also like how the astrals are animated, combining 2D with 3D. But around the 40-minute mark, Joe and 22 actually make it to Earth, but with a twist. Joe is trapped in the body of a cat, while 22 is trapped in Joe's body. So from here, we get more comedy between 22 adjusting to her life on Earth. And when I watched this for the first time, I thought 22 would find her spark in jazz like Joe. But no, it was the little things like eating food, walking, enjoying the atmosphere. It's the will to live that's her spark. And that's a pretty good message, at least to me. And another thing I like about this movie is that there is no main villain here. There's Terry, but he's more of a comedic nuisance than anything. And it's mostly just a factor in the third act breakdown between Joe and 22. Other than that, he doesn't do much. Alright, now, there are two problems with this movie that I find the most glaring for me. The first one is Terry. I think he should have been removed altogether, as some of his scenes were mostly just for comedy, and he spends most of the time looking through records and later just going around looking for Joe. Bottom line, his scenes are not very memorable, but they're at least still funny, so I can excuse that being put in. And the second one is the ending. Joe gives the Earth patch back to 22 and he's not able to return to Earth, but later the Astrals offered to send him back to Earth alive. For me, at least, I think Joe should have gone to the Great Beyond, or at the very least get offered a mentorship. This ending is very similar to Frozen 2's ending, where Anna was about to sacrifice Arendelle, but oh, look at that, Elsa saved it. And I didn't really like that ending, to be honest. But luckily, Soul didn't botch their ending as much as Frozen 2 did. I also like that you don't know what happened to 22 after she got to Earth. I had a feeling if it wouldn't be as impactful if they showed it, but that's just my opinion, to be honest. And these two endings got me to think about these kinds of ending tropes. Sacrifice without consequence. Many movies, TV shows, and books use this to normally milk drama. Ever notice that when a character dies, it's not gonna be believable unless they see a body? Even then, they could still be alive somehow. Sacrifice without consequence is one of the results of this. When someone makes a sacrifice, there has to be a consequence for their actions. And if they had gone with Joe staying dead or becoming a mentor, is that while he didn't have the best life, he still had a happy life that even though it was cut short, he at least had an experience that is unique to him. All of us came from different places, grew up differently, and have different experiences that no one else had. Our greatest triumphs and our darkest hours are all unique to us. Let me know what you think, because this is how I interpret the ending if Joe had died, or at least become a mentor. But let me tell you, my complaints doesn't make this movie any bad. This movie is still great despite the issues I pulled up earlier. This is what I think of when I think of peak Pixar, like Toy Story, Ratatouille, Finding Nemo, and Coco. All great movies made by talented people, by people who want to give us a good story with good animation. I can easily add this to a list of my top Pixar movies. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.